Summer love. Summer lover. Yo, yo. What's happening? A proper good stream for drinking a beers and watching my cutting board finished dry. Hell yeah. Sounds perfect. How you guys doing? In the tub. Nice. In the bub. It's a bassa. With a 1 year. What up, Joel? What up? You're very cheeky. With a whole year here. What game are you playing on screen? Among Us 2? Yeah, this is Among Us 2. I got early access from Corpse Husband. He knows the devs. Are they working on a second one? I guess they have the VR shit, right? And the VR looks pretty sick. What's the space guy looking for? I think he's just looking for a... Just scouting the forest to see how much lumber he can tear down and sell. How many people have a heart attack if Joel just decided to scream real close to the mic? I would never do such a thing. Ah! Yeah, he's looking for a good time. He's looking for a camping spot. Yeah, he's looking he's looking for the rave. He went to take a piss in the middle of the forest. Looking for big feet. Yeah, looking for the pages of Slender Man. 422 in Ireland, can't sleep, so happy to catch this live. Yeah, glad to have you, Heather. How's Ireland treating you? Isn't it weird to think like some people get to like just live in a whole different place? I was always kind of curious what it would be like to grow up somewhere warm, you know? Like I was always like semi-jealous of people who grew up in like Florida. Or yeah, Australia. Where it's just fucking warm all the time and you don't really have to worry about those winters where all you want to do is hibernate and, you know, eat shitty food or whatever. Joel, if you died during a live stream, how would we ever find out that you're dead and not tired of dealing with us? I don't know. I've always kind of wondered that, like, because I'm like, would my parents even know, or like my family even know, would my friends even know, like, how to like access my YouTube shit to like it's been brought to our attention that Let's Read has exploded into a pink slime. Favorite rapper of all time? Oh, it's hard to say, I guess. I mean, some might say like MF Doom or something of that nature, which I do admire his skills, but I do really like Ludacris. I always felt like every hit like Ludacris had out, or every song Ludacris had, was just sort of semi-genius, you know what I mean? I had just checked and there was nothing, and bam, here it is. Yeah, sometimes we'd be sneaking up on you. I really do kind of hope that YouTube has like some really big like overhaul of stream shit eventually, just where it's like super top notch, real-time interaction with like little demand. You saw Ludacris live last month. Nice, Kayla, that's awesome. I saw him live when I was younger, but man, it's been a long time. Nas, yeah, Nas is very good. You got your nail ripped off last night by a shoplifter. What the fuck? That's weird. Were they like did they snatch something out of your hands, or were you trying to like stop them? It's fucking scary. Honestly, if someone wants to steal some shit and I'm like an employee at a place, unless it's like my business, I'm not fucking dealing with that shit. You love the music video where he has the big arms and hands. Yeah, that was where his career, I feel like, really took off. You live in Hong Kong, do scary stories from here. I can definitely look into it. Hong Kong horror. I've always been concerned about shoplifters. I work in a store that is number 3 in theft for my company. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully they do it sneakily and they don't fucking bum rush your whole shit. Because the last thing you need is, like, to take a bullet for a fucking some baby formula or a pair of sneaks. A pair of sneakos. A pair of soap shoes. A pair of Yeezys. Not worth your time. You work at a Snappies. I don't stop anyone. What's a Snappies? What's the countdown for? We are going to be recording stories from Japan, scary ones that people sent in. Well, actually, these ones were helped transcribed by a good friend, Jay Nightmares. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, you should. He kind of reads like strictly Japanese related stories, and he's compiled some of these for me. His voice will be at the end of the video as well, as a thank you to him, but you should definitely go subscribe to him. But the countdown is just to let people kind of come in, get comfy, and then we'll switch up to the mood, to some spooker storios. Don't forget us when you get millions of subscribers. That's what people said when I got 1 million. They're like, don't forget us when you're at 1 million subs. And it's like, well, how can I forget you? You guys are... It's me that has to worry about you forgetting about me. If that makes any sense. What was his name again? It was Jay Nightmares. Let's see. What's his subscriber? Jay Nightmares. He's up to 15,000. That'd be great to get him to 16,000. Creepy Christmas stories from Japan you haven't heard. Oh, he's putting hashtags in his titles. I don't think he should do that. I don't know if he's listening or not, but I don't think you're supposed to. I think that kind of just muddies up your title, like SEO, you know what I mean? What's up, Carter? Jimmy Carter. Where's the other half of Daft Punk with his hoverboard? They just share. He is the hoverboard. Or else he's been removed from the group. Oh, thanks, Brianna. Yeah, he'll appreciate that. And, you know, let me know if you like his voice. I like his voice.
I followed the person in front.
It's like a pretty neutral British accent. I don't know if British is the right word, but I like his tone.
As we crossed that bridge.
Yeah, oh yeah. Eyes without a face. Oh yeah. A face without eyes. What is Horror Babble's accent? I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard Horror Babble's before. Let's take a listen. take a listen.
The Man Who Saw the Light Over Winter Hill by Ian Gordon.
Written and narrated by Ian Gordon. Music and production by Ian Gordon. Nice, dude.
3.
3.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day.
The two of us were up bright and early on the 26th. It was set to be a cool, clear day, so we munched our way through half a loaf of toast and made plans to hike to Crooked Edge Hill.
It sounds pretty
I have to
northern.
admit, my eyes were peeled the whole way. Daytime, as I've come to realize, offers only the illusion of safety. I had no desire to fall prey to that rat thing.
I was going to say, it sounds like a pretty northern English accent, but I can't quite pinpoint where, though. It almost sounds borderline Scottish. Oh, Yorkshire? Makes sense.
40 minutes later, just after 9, Rosie and I were standing between the two lads, the chill of the moor whistling in our ears.
Interesting. He seems like he's got some pretty good production value over there, though. Reminds me a little bit of, like, Chilling Tales for a Dark Night kind of vibe, where everything's very, like, dialed in, you know? Which is always awesome. He's from the Shire, yeah. Frodo! The Pudding Palace. A lot of H.P. Lovecraft. That's good. You can't go wrong with a little H.P. H-Pizzle. Lovecraft-izzle. All-time favorite fast food place. Oh, all-time favorite. There was some place I went to down south. I mean, I guess it wouldn't... Well, there was a place down south called Cookout that had really, really good shit. I don't know if you guys ever had Cookout. HP sauce. Oh, Papa John's? Yeah, Papa John's ain't bad. Cookout is bussin', for real, for real. I forgot about that, bussin'. That shit bussin'. Cthulhu is good fast food, sea monster joint. That'd be a good place, Cthulhu. And it's all ethereal horror themed food. Five Guys. Yeah, Five Guys is pretty good. I'm not a huge... I don't think... Like, their fries are okay. They, like, pile up their fries inside your bag. Like, on top of all your shit. Which is actually kind of good. On your way home, you just, like... pick out of the bag. But... I really... Like, I feel like people are really honing in on the craft of, like... the perfect fry. And some of the best fries I've had are, like, the beer-battered ones, you know? In-N-Out. You know, I've never actually had an In-N-Out... or a Carl's Jr. I would like to try them if I ever pass by them on like a highway or some shit. Five Guys sounds like a gangbang. It's pretty much what it is, except it happens inside your gut, causing all of their goo to shoot out your butt later on. Just like real life. Five Guys, 1 cup of Diet Dr. Pepper. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's the same thing. They might be. I think they're Canadian, right? Whataburger. That's like out California, right? What's a burger? Hey, Grandma, what's going on? I got really good music taste for real, thank you. Yeah, you know, I just be vibing. I like listening to everything. My favorite movie? Oh, it's hard to say. I have watched... I mean, some of my favorites I've said before was like Cloud Atlas. The Fountain. Ghost in the Shell. Saving Private Ryan. Gladiator, shit like that, you know. I don't know. I like movies that just kind of have that like larger than life theme to them, you know. Like I like ones that are just like a kind of dime a dozen piece of entertainment too, but I like ones that just like take themselves pretty seriously and try to be some sort, even if it's not, like just trying to be a timeless classic is pretty great. Anything with Cillian Murphy. So 28 Days Later, which is pretty good. I do like that one. I remember like the openings, or not, well, yeah, the opening scene of 28 Weeks Later is insane. But like that one scene in 28 Days Later in the first movie where the one guy gets bit and she sees he's bit and then she starts taking a machete to him. I feel like as a kid that messed me up because it just felt very real in the moment, you know? Just having to like kill your friend because they're infected. Oh, Cillian Murphy. I don't know why. I always thought it was Cillian. And I swear back in the day they used to... I think they changed it. I think they changed the pronunciation of his name. You're a martial arts fan. Oh, yeah. I remember I bought like a box set of like Bruce Lee movies. Brought it in my buddy's dad's van because he had like a DVD player in there. And then it just all went missing and I have no idea where they went. What's the scariest mythical creature? Maybe like Mothman. Just because like the Mothman prophecy shit kind of messed me up where it's like... It felt like an alien, but it also felt like an interdimensional demon. And it could like... You would always see it prior to like a really bad thing happening. I always thought that was pretty wild. You met Cillian a few years back in Dublin. Really sound guy, shorter than you think. Yeah, I feel like a lot of those like Hollywood actors are, they just have good proportions. He's always just been skinny. I wonder what that's probably felt like for him, just always being a skinny guy. Never having like any interest in like gaining any weight. Let's see. Cillian Murphy height. Oh, 5'8". Alright, yeah. About average, I guess. Please, Mothman, swoop in and take up this floating glow stick in the forest. Pull me up, Scotty. But yeah, another minute here, guys. We'll kick off these Japanese stories. You guys got any plans for New Year's? Gaining weight is hard. I mean, I feel like it's just calories in, calories out, but I guess it would be harder for some people if they don't have the appetite for it. My favorite Aussie band? Honestly, maybe like Tame Impala or something. I don't really know a lot of Aussie bands. I'm sure there would be some that you mentioned that are pretty good. Cillian Murphy is somehow hot while also looking like his skin is being vacuumed inside of him. Yeah, I guess that's just the look of a model, you know, where you look like your diet consists primarily of cocaine to maintain your figure. Alright, yeah, let's kick this off. Let's just get to it. And look, everyone. I brought back the holiday-themed background for the last few days of December. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that amazing? Haven't I blown your mind? Somebody last time said to keep it till like New Year's, and I'm like, alright, that makes sense. Grimace. It's the Grimace shake. Alright. So how many stories we got tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Jay recorded one. to make it 8. And Spizia, you did, yeah. And guess what? You made it happen. I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I guess it was a little quick to break free. How was my Christmas? It was good. It was about what you'd expect. It is way more fun to give gifts, though. There's really no gifts that, like, I could even possibly want anymore, to be honest with you. Unless experiences. I guess experiences is kind of what you go for. Same, I was super fit as a kid and some hormone disorder messed me up, and now I'm way larger in a fam that values being sickly thin and my hair is falling out. Oh shit, I'm sorry, Ash. Get pretty Benny lean or PR. Yeah, I actually did order some catnip and a little fluttery automatic toy, but they have not come in yet. My metabolism was super fast until about 30, then came to a dead stop at 40. You don't wear any socks? No, I wear socks. Me loves socks. Alright, so we'll just start with story 1. Story Juan from Yopan. I live in a pretty small town, and I have a pretty quiet life, in all honesty. I have an office job, and I work some pretty long hours, so I don't really go out all that much at night. On the night that this experience took place, I got a call from a friend of mine. To be honest, I almost didn't pick it up, but I am really glad that I did. She had called to say that she needed a ride. I didn't mind. I didn't have any other plans. She needed to be picked up from a big supermarket. I guessed that she had bought a ton of things and she didn't want to take all of that on the crowded train home with her. I was happy to help, but it seemed to me a little late to be shopping. It was around 11 p.m. when she called. I needed a couple of things, so I headed into the store to meet her. And the supermarket was almost empty at that time of night, but it usually is really busy during the day. We got our things, paid, and headed back out to the parking lot. I think that was about midnight at that point. A group of men came out of a nearby game center, sort of like an arcade. I think these guys came out because the place was about to close. They headed to their cars while talking to each other and looking over at us. My friend said to me that she wasn't feeling well and we decided to just get going. We pulled out of the parking lot and a couple of other cars followed on behind us. That was normal though. It was closing time and the lights in the retail park were going out. I noticed that my friend was quiet. I guess that was just because she didn't feel well. I looked over at her and she looked pale. And she looked at me and said, "I think I know the guy in the car behind us." I didn't think much of it when she said that. I thought that it was just some coincidence. I went to look in the mirrors to see if I knew him too, and then my friend suddenly said, "Don't look back." I realized why she was so uncomfortable and I tried to pull over to let the guy pass, but then my friend snapped at me and said, "Don't stop the car, whatever you do." And I just did as she asked and continued, "That's my ex-boyfriend. If you stop, I'm scared that he'll come and try to open the door." Okay, now this was serious, I thought. I made up my mind not to drive down the highway. I wanted to avoid any traffic lights, which would mean that we would have to stop. And when my car stops, the doors automatically unlock while the car is in drive. So I decided to take the back roads, and man, that was a terrible idea. Thinking back on it now, I should have probably gone to like a late-night diner or a convenience store. Somewhere bright with lots of people around, but I think my friend would have freaked out if I even tried that. So I kept driving down these countryside lanes, the back roads, until my friend calmed down a little. The car behind was following every turn we made. The further we went from the city, the fewer cars were seen on the roads with us. It got to the point where it was literally just us on the road. The car behind was speeding up too, forcing me to go faster and faster. I asked my friend, "Why is he chasing us?" She responds, "I think I made him angry. I didn't want to stay at a place alone tonight. Oh, whoops. I don't want to stay at my... Oh, I see. Okay. Demented lurker. No worries. See you, dude. She said, I think I made him angry. I don't want to stay at my place alone tonight. Then she began to cry, and I didn't really get my... Wait, what is it saying? Then she began to cry, and I didn't really get my answer. Oh, okay. Then she began to cry, and I didn't really get my answer. The situation we were in was getting more and more unnerving. I didn't know how it was going to end, and I didn't want to consider all the possibilities. I kept driving. There wasn't much else I could do, but then something occurred to me. I had quite a small and light car, and the car behind was much bigger. What if I went down a narrow road? Maybe that would stop the guy from chasing us. He'd be scared to damage his car, I thought. I decided to take that risk and turn down the next narrow road that I found. I kept an eye on my navigation system to try to find a way out of there. I didn't want to be stuck down some dead-end road. I needed to keep driving, or at least get to some safe place, because I didn't want to send my friend home in the state that she was in. I thought about trying the police, but I knew the police would do nothing about that guy. It seems like they only help after the fact and never during. My friend was sobbing next to me, but she stopped to apologize for getting me into this mess. I mean, I should have sensed something was up. She'd never, ever... Whoops. Oh yeah, there's no Hong Kong story at the end. Someone just asked if I would do Hong Kong at some point. But yeah, if you have a story you want to send in, you can send it to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Hey, Calculated Survival, what's up? Fellow creator. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome, my friend. What kind of videos do you make? Survival, fitness week, full workout. Oh, that's cool. The real story behind the broken Cold Steel Republic. How to pick hiking saw. Oh, okay, it's like all this outdoor stuff. That's sweet. Survival fit. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I guess if you're out in the Appalachian Trail, you're gonna want to like maintain your musculature. That's awesome. And thank you for listening. Sleepy Guerrero, welcome back for 8 months. As unfortunately, I've been missing more lives recently. Getting my days off for the holidays was a blessing, though. I'm taking advantage of it now. Thank you. No worries, Sleepy. Good to see you. And thank you for 8 months. You listen while you work. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're an Appalachian author, John? What, when you say Appalachian author, what does that mean? Like, talking about your experiences on the trail, or people's stories or something? Does Godzilla show up in the story today? I hope so, dude. I hope Godzilla's the boyfriend in the car. That's my boyfriend behind me. You're like, how can you tell? And it's just like this giant fucking dinosaur beast following them. Watching from Jamaica. Thanks for the content. I'm a very small anime content creator. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Can we peep at your... Do you have animations on your channel? I just like to look... When I see other creators, I just like to look at everybody's stuff. Kind of catch a vibe, you know? Oh, okay. Do you do edits, or do you... This is cool. Attack on Titan, the 5 episode part 3, anime versus manga. Oh, comparison. Nice, nice. It is always cool to see that, because I mean, I assume a lot of those mangas and comic books and stuff kind of operate as like a tentative storyboard for a lot of the people that end up making the shows or the animated show. I live in the Appalachian Mountains and I have stories with meth head hillbillies and local ammunition plants. John, yeah, dude, people will go nuts for outdoor stories on my channel, so if you have any and you feel like sending them in, or you want me to narrate, ones that are within reason of like length, you know what I mean? It can't be like a whole book or whatever, but I would love to. You can send it into letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, or if you prefer to send it in over Reddit, reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. I mean, I should have sensed something was up. She hadn't ever called me for a ride from a supermarket before. She said she called me because she didn't have anyone else she could turn to. I told her that it was okay. I just wanted to know where I should be driving her. And she replied, "Don't take me back to my house. If we did, just lose him to where he will be..." Wait, what? "Don't take me back to my house. If we did, just lose him. That's where he..." Oh, I see. My bad. Jeepers, the Night Stalker Creepers, what's up? "Don't take me back to my house. If we did just lose him, that's where he'll be waiting. Can you take me to the train station?" I said that she could stay at mine for the night, but she vehemently refused. She said that she had caused enough trouble. I realized something at that point. The stuff that she had bought at the supermarket looked like she had been planning to run away. She even had some camping equipment. I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't fully understand the situation, but I knew one thing. The man who was chasing us was very dangerous if running away from her life in her... was very dangerous if running away from her life in our town seemed to be... Okay. Oh, okay. Tomorrow I will send in a submission. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Yeah, and if anybody has a submission, I really always need as many as I can get. We pump out a lot of content on the channel, so send, baby. I've always been insecure about how I look, but I felt like I have a decent body and was complimented on my hair, and now I just feel gross, overweight, and losing my hair. The texture makes me sad. I'm sorry to hear that, but... There's got to be a solution, I feel like, on maybe some... Well, I don't want to, overstep my boundaries or anything here, but I feel like perhaps we could determine some sort of dietary... something that would, be really beneficial and give you confidence. I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't fully understand the situation, but I knew one thing. The man who was chasing us was very dangerous if running away for her life in our town seemed to be her preferred option. She said that she would stay in a hotel that night. She would get off the train far away and lay low. She was going to hotel hop too, make sure that her location changed every now and then. I felt for her, I really did. She said that she felt like he was always watching her and he knew how to find her, and that was so scary to me. I didn't want to ask her about her ex, but I was curious as to why she was so scared of him finding her. I said something like, "He sounds like a really horrible guy." And she replies, "It's not just him who'll be looking for me. It's his group of friends too." And that was even more frightening. Something really bad was going on. I managed to follow the narrow back roads back to the city, and I got her to the station like she asked. I was confident that she wasn't following us anymore. I felt for sure that he had given up. She got out at the station, and we found that the next available train would come at 6 a.m. I couldn't leave her there for that long. Couldn't leave her there for that long. Oh, the email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. It's also, the subreddit and email is located in every description of every video. At least the most, within the past couple years. So it should be there if you ever lose it or need to find it. I couldn't leave her there for that long alone in the state that she was in. I asked her to come with me to a McDonald's or something. I thought that there we could talk things over a little, and I was right. She told me a little more about the situation and that ex of hers. She told me that he didn't take being broke up with very well. He attacked her and beat her up. He made threats against her family and friends and tried to use fear to coerce her into getting back with him again. He was also convinced that she had been with his friends. He said all this after she found out that he had been on a bunch of dating and hookup apps. One of her single friends showed her his profile and she confronted him. She said that his friends are a bunch of stalkers like him too. I was shocked and finding it hard to follow her story. Personally, I think that they could have been as bad as one another with... Man, I don't know why. I know it's translated, but sometimes I get lost here. Personally, I think they could have been as bad as one another with the cheating, by the sounds of things. I was shocked and finding it hard to follow her story. Personally, I think they could have been as bad as one another with... What is this saying? I was shocked and finding it hard to follow her story. I'm finding it hard to follow this sentence. Hey, Literate, I have dyslexia and it's very hard to read, but your videos really do help me out all the time. I enjoy listening to them. They soothe me. Thank you. You're welcome, Jagger. Good to see you. I'm glad we can help. Read a lot of flash fiction, less than 10-minute pieces that still tell full stories. Nice, yeah, feel free to send those in too, just to kind of take a peek at, if you'd like. This would be fun to read on stream sometime. Okay, I was shocked. Sorry, this is taking me way too long to figure this little puzzle out. Let me just fix the grammar. Let me just have AI fix everything for me. I was shocked and found it hard to follow her story. Personally, I think they could have been equally guilty of cheating by the sounds of things. And so... Then she turned to me and said, I want you to forget about me, okay? I'm not going to have anything more to do with you. And at that point, it is very sad to lose a friend, of course, but equally, I didn't want to get involved with these weird guys and be chased by random men at night, and I just felt so conflicted. She began to cry again and kept saying, It's really my fault this time. After dropping her off at the train station and helping her onto the platform with her bags, she turned to me and gave me 10,000 yen and said, Thank you. I'll always be grateful for tonight. And that was the last time I ever saw my friend. I had tears in my eyes as I drove home from the station that night, but they felt like they instantly dried up when I noticed a certain car in the lane next to mine. I couldn't believe it. The guy who had followed me earlier, Back had to give the kids antibiotics. Yeah, sadly, my nephew has been having a lot of ear infections. I think he had to get tubes inserted or some sort of inserts into his ears for the time being to help drain ear infection stuff, which sounds gross, but I guess it's pretty common in young kids. He's like 18 months. And I feel bad for him because he's got to take like antibiotics, and he gets like he gets like bad fevers and shit like that. It just seems rough. Calculated Survival says, ever heard of Fairfield Hills? Broke in one night. Maybe I should send my story in. Also, house sat and had stuff thrown around. Dog went nuts every night. Interesting. Yeah, definitely send it in. Send in whatever you would like, and hopefully I'll get to it at some point here. There's a lot of different ones to kind of siphon through, which is a good thing, but sometimes takes a while to get to. Do a narration in Simlish. I thought that I couldn't believe it. Then I got back, I had found my other earlier. I want to look out for the sense of I tried to make an office move that I'm not here. But then when I put it in for a cut of the 4 hours, which was 5 minutes to turn it off at the door after the mill. There you go. Hope 2024 will be a great year for you. Love your videos. Thanks, Sean. Good to see you. Hope everybody has a good 2024. I'm just praying to God that they don't thrust us into some stupid bullshit, since it's an election year and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just want everybody to chill out and can we just watch movies and eat popcorn and get fat like normal Americans? Like how it should be, goddammit. I guess not much has really changed. More detective stories? Yeah, definitely look into that. Doomsday doesn't hit till 2025. That's still, I don't know. It's just so stupid. Like when you think, I don't know, there's times where you like look internally and you see, and I know sometimes the idea of like some utopia is like ridiculous, because it is kind of ridiculous. Like how do you expect to like get everyone to just chill out? But I feel like the most upper echelon level where things are where most decisions are made within an economic kind of complex, you could have some pretty strong progress on Earth if those decisions came from that top down and kind of, trickled down to everybody else. Whether it's like advancements in medicine or production or whatever it might be. And sometimes I just feel like there's some philosophy at that level that there's no desire to make things better on Earth. Like it's much easier just to keep everyone sort of in like this strange hierarchical sense of conflict. Divide everyone up into sides and then choose leaders, and then the leaders tell you to go be bongo heads. And it just don't make no sense. Oh, Leslie, and I'm also not trying to be like doomer-esque, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who are living, if you think about it, on different parts of Earth. There's a lot of people out there living through some pretty shit circumstances, much more shitty than like probably how we are streaming on YouTube and chilling on a computer and listening or whatever it might be. So honestly, the only content that actually makes me feel really good is, have you ever clicked Hope, like Hope Core? If you ever go to YouTube, type in Hope Core, HOPECORE, and there's something about it that just, you're so tempted to always click on like some new political video or like everything's doomed and everything's fucking bad and everything stinks ass. But like when you really dial it back, when you disassociate yourself a little bit from like left versus right or, classist systems or, any sort of perspective that would differentiate you from your fellow human, you begin to realize that at your most core level, you're just an individual, you know what I mean? And the greatest way to have a good life as a society is for each of us as individuals to just grow internally, and then allow that growth to expand outward externally. And instead of like blaming all of our weaknesses on someone around us or somebody above us, which I'm prone to do as well, I think it's best to just try to make the best of what you got and hit it hard, Sadness is comforting. Yeah. But hope is comforting too. And the decisions you make tomorrow, or the decisions you make right now, is going to be the comfort you give yourself later, If every day you decide to eat like pizza and never go for a walk, or never lift a weight, or never try to start that business, or never try to like write that book, or never do anything because you're just complacent all the time, that's what's going to rob you of your hope for the future. So, and honestly, like we said before, the pain is going to come, and you might as well have those like little painful days where you're fighting for something better, rather than those like arduous, sinking in quicksand slowly types of pain that you have later whenever you've done nothing. Hope is dope, exactly. Get that on a t-shirt and wear it around town. I couldn't believe it. The guy who had followed me earlier was still out here looking for us. I got goosebumps but tried not to make it obvious that I had noticed him. And by some miracle, he didn't appear to notice me or my car, and after 4 or 5 pretty frightening minutes, he turned off in a different direction to me. As soon as I got home, I just completely crashed. It was the first time in a long time that I had been awake that late with that much adrenaline. And despite everything that happened that night, I'm glad that I answered her call. I mean, what might have happened to her if I didn't is something I don't want to ask myself. And like I said, I never heard from her again. Now fast forward now, 3 months later, I got a call from my friend's number. I was really interested to see how she was doing, so I answered it straight away. And I quickly found out that it wasn't my friend on the other end of the phone. It sounded like someone wasn't even using a phone, and by that I mean that it was some sort of computer talking. And the voice at the other end of the line asked the following: "Hi, have you heard from Beep?" It says Beep. The man calling from her number seemed polite and friendly, but I knew that he was the only one, the guy who's... Oh, Beep must be... You already seen your therapist today? Nice. What did your therapist say? Did they say anything good? Did they say anything fascinating or profound? Terry, nice. I'm glad you liked that video. That was one of my favorites to produce. Your daughter's friend is called Beep. Oh yeah, somebody said their grandma's name is Beep. I guess that's a... Hi, have you heard from Beep? The man calling from her number seemed polite and friendly, but I knew that he was likely one of the guys who was chasing her. I was a little scared to say anything at first, but then I managed to say, "Actually, I haven't heard from her in a long time. I'm sorry I can't help you." "Ah, is that so? Well, I'm so sorry to have bothered you then." And then the call was ended. I was so scared even though it wasn't happening to me. I had a way to contact her through a separate messaging app, but I didn't dare to use it just in case one of those guys or her ex had a way of tracking her messages. I hope she managed to start a new life, and although that call was scary, it told me that they hadn't managed to track her down. And if you're out there, please stay safe, my friend. Do you and Lazy Massacre have beef? No, not at all. I love Lazy. We're dating. We have such little beef. We've got vegetables with each other. What's he up to? Has he made a video recently? He better be working. He better be on that YouTube grind. Here, I'm gonna show I love him so much. I'm gonna retweet his newest video. All right, story 1. That was a pretty scary. It's pretty spooky. Therapists pretty much just listen and give suggestions, which I do appreciate, you know what I mean? I'm sure they help work through things of certain blah, 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 blah. But sometimes I feel like you need close friends, you know? You need close friends to, like, not always make you feel great all the time. If that makes sense. Because sometimes I feel like because there's like the financial incentivization to kind of tell you that you're correct all the time, it like sort of kills the potential tough love that a friend can give another friend to help them see the truth of their ways, or the degree of which their perspectives are maybe borderline insane, you know? Or unrealistic at the very least. Hey Iris, what's up? No worries, good to see you. Eugenia, you're famous. See the most liked comment on your Christmas compilation. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it and then we can ban you for doing that. I can't have you feeling even remotely good. No, I'm just kidding. I'll pin it. Maybe I can pin it. I already have a comment pinted. Pinted. Bogo's pinted? Wait, where's your comment? Oh, there it is. 267. POV, this channel has taught us that Santa that comes after you fall asleep is a homeless man that breaks in to eat the cookies. Hell yeah, dude. I've been saying that for years and no one ever listens. I'm glad you told them. Am I core? Like abs? No. To hell with core. I've had enough core in my life. It's time to start focusing on knee health. Yujikan Nagi, good to see you. Alright, story numero 20. You have to work New Year's Day, so should I take my tree down now when I'm off, or wait? I can't decide. What? If you enjoy the process of like taking down and putting up items, maybe whilst listening to this or listening to some podcast or something, and it makes you feel relaxed, perhaps you're drinking a bit of a drink whilst doing so, then I'd say go for it. But if you like the way it makes your house feel in the ambiance of the holiday, then I'd say keep it up past the New Year's just to continue to derive some sort of energy from it. Today's your birthday. I turned 23 and Gypsy Rose was released just in time for my birthday. Nice. Happy birthday, Iris. What is Gypsy Rose? That sounds like an 80s band. I've had one really scary experience worth sharing. Back when I was a student, I used to go camping by myself regularly, and at one point I was camping almost every weekend. I used to camp from Friday to Sunday out in the elements, and I really didn't mind where. I camped in fields and in the shade of the mountains. With no real friends at college, I guess I was trying to suppress my loneliness by exploring nature. On the night that this took place, I got on the train and headed out with no real direction in mind. I didn't bring a map and I didn't research where I was going to be camping. I was just kind of winging it. I knew that there were mountains. I knew that there would be mountains where I was heading, so I figured that I would easily find somewhere to camp. I got off the train and set off into the wilderness, and eventually I found a nice area between two mountains. It looked like a pretty safe place, so I set up my camp for the night. I made a campfire dinner, and then I retreated into my tent to read a little. Before I knew it, it was almost midnight. It was a quiet night. There was a breeze, but it wasn't that cold despite it being fall. I was comfortable in my tent. Well, that was until I heard the zipper at the front of the tent unzip. I panicked, but I tried to think logically at first. Was I trespassing on private property? Was someone here to move me on? Move me on. Move along. Julie, gotta do some digging on Gypsy Rose and her story. It's absolutely insane. Very up your alley, I'd say. Gypsy Rose. Let's look it up. Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who pled guilty to helping kill her abusive mother. Wait, what was it, Iris? It's your birthday and she was released. Oh. Let's read this. I can read it here. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who admitted to helping her boyfriend kill her abusive mother in a case that generated national attention, was released from prison on parole Thursday, a Missouri corrections official told CNN. Blanchard pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in 2016 after confessing that she convinced her boyfriend to stab her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, to death as she slept. Prosecutors sentenced her to 10 years in prison in a plea deal after attorneys uncovered the abuses she experienced at the hands of her mother. Blanchard was the victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a rare syndrome in which a caregiver fakes, exaggerates, or induces illness in a child to gain attention. Dee Dee was found to have convinced those around her, including doctors, that her daughter was afflicted with leukemia and muscular dystrophy, among other ailments, a subject examined in the HBO Max documentary Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. Oh, yikes. Her mom looks nuts. Blanchard admitted to being in the house at the time of the murder, knowing her boyfriend, Nicholas Gojan, was going to stab Dee Dee and doing nothing to stop it, the court records show. Gojan was convicted of murder and sentenced in 2019 to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Court filings showed he admitted to stabbing Dee Dee and said he only killed her because Gypsy asked him to. Speaking about the conditions of Blanchard's release, Missouri Department of Corrections spokesperson Karen Hodgman said her original 10-year sentence started in June 2015, so barring parole violations and other extenuating circumstances, it's expected that she'll be on parole supervision and reporting to a parole officer until June 2025. In the days after Dee Dee's killing, details started to emerge that revealed a complex and unusual situation, with Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott saying at a June 2015 press conference that things are not always as they appear. I've never encountered anything that is even close to what Gypsy had gone through, Blanchard's attorney Michael Stanfield says in the HBO documentary Mommy, Dead, and Mommy, Dearest. Her mother appeared to have taken great steps to keep Gypsy in a very juvenile role, making her act several years younger than her actual age. In an interview with People's Magazine shortly after her release, Blanchard, now 32, said she regretted her role in the killing every single day. She was a sick woman, and unfortunately, I wasn't educated enough to see that, she said. She deserved to be where I am, sitting in a prison doing time for criminal behavior. An upcoming book released, Conversations of the Eve of Freedom, tell Blanchard's story through her own perspective, with the help of writers Melissa Moore and Michelle Matriciani. It is said to be published in January. Man, this whole thing, I feel like they're selling a book and selling a fucking HBO documentary the whole fucking time. A 6-hour Lifetime special. There you go. They're just trying to get you to watch these fucking true crime shows, but like in real time they're making them. With Blanchard from Prison is set to premiere. Okay, I get it. Jesus fucking Christ. You don't have to monetize this person's misery. Well, I guess that's what we're doing right now, but alright, I'm no better than they are. But that is nuts. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate world we live in. I panicked, but I tried to think logically at first. Was I trespassing on private property? Or could this be something worse? I was worried that I was in danger. The tent flap was fully unzipped in a matter of moments, and then I saw a figure. A man was out there. He leaned his head into the tent, and I saw his face. It was just some old man. He looked very ordinary, the kind of guy that you would walk past in the street and hardly notice. As he leaned into my tent, he asked, "Are you traveling through here?" I couldn't wrap my head around what he was asking. I just shook my head from side to side to indicate no, and with that, the old guy zipped up the front flap and left. I was confused and pretty freaked out. I didn't spot a house in the area, and I think the closest one I saw was nearly a mile away. What the hell was this old guy doing out in the mountains so late? I started to wonder if I'd seen a ghost or something. I knew deep down that I had seen a real person, though, but the absurdity of the situation had me questioning everything. Well, I guess the sleep was off the agenda. Well, I guess that sleep was off the agenda for the night. I mean, there would be no possible way I could sleep with some guy out there. He was comfortable enough to open the tent, so what else was this guy going? Shit. Some guy out there. It was... Well, I guess that sleep was off the agenda for the night. I mean, there would be no possible way that I could sleep with some weirdo out there. If he was comfortable enough to open my tent, what else was this guy possibly going to do? I didn't know if he was a psycho, or if he was armed, or if he was a thief. I mean, he didn't look like any of those options, but I guess that it's possible that he could have been all three, and I couldn't sleep with that on my mind. While I was mulling over all that I'd heard, the sound of the zipper being pulled... While I was mulling over all that... Oh, I see. My bad. You were a 6'2" guy in Japan you stuck out when you went. They were screaming Godzilla at you. King Kong! Your live keeps lagging, I'm sorry. I wish there was a way to make everyone's internet. I don't know, I have it at like the lowest kilobyte rate, like 2,600. And I feel like that should make it easy on people's internet, but I decay. Joni, was it you that were commenting saying that, like, crazy dreams might indicate, like, healing or something like that? I don't know if that's true or not. Thanks, Lenora. Good to see you. Smooth on your fiber end. Well, that's good, yeah. Everybody just needs supersonic internet. While I was mulling over all that, I heard the sound of the zipper being pulled again. The front flap opened, and this time a completely different guy stuck his head through the opening of the tent. He asked me more or less the same question. "Are you on a trip or vacation or something?" I shook my head to indicate no again. I didn't know how to answer this guy, and I wanted to give a similar answer as the first one that I gave. I didn't know what they were testing. There had to be a point to this weird line of questioning. When he heard my response, he zipped up the tent again and seemingly walked off someplace. And the second guy was younger. He was middle-aged and, again, very ordinary looking. I didn't know if I was being targeted or if this was the beginning of some kind of game. I didn't plan on sticking around to find out, so I decided to pack up my things as fast as I could. I was worried though. I knew that it was dark out there. There was no moon out that night, and you know how dark it can get in the mountains, and you taught yourself how to lucid dream to conquer your night terrors. Interesting. How do you do it? I have a theory about the vivid dreams BPC can. Yes, my theory is the brain is healing because it is systemic. Oh, the brain is healing? Does it, but like, would a healing brain, because sometimes it kind of, there'll be sometimes I have some, like, the dreams are like so wild I only make it like 3 hours into sleep, and then I wake up like wide awake, and it takes me a while to get back to sleep. You got full bars on 5G and it keeps stopping. I really do wonder if there's something I can change on my end to make things better for people, but I don't even know who to talk to. You can read in your dreams and makes life really confusing sometimes. I will always think someone actually texted me stuff. Oh, that's funny. Like cleaning up all the junk just stored from reading all these. Oh, okay. Like it's processing all of the... I mean, a lot of it, literally so much of it is being chased by... I'm like being chased by shit. It's so fucking annoying. And I haven't had like, you know, crazy dreams like that for quite some time. David, thank you for the 1, my friend. Good to see you. How does one know they're lucid dreaming? I guess, like, if you just, I don't know, it's the ridiculousness of the experience eventually hits you, at least for me, where I'm like, wait a second, that's over there, and this is happening, and that's, you know, I don't know, some random person floating, or something of that nature, and I'm like, there's so many inconsistencies that eventually your logical part of your brain is like, oh, you're in a dream. But for me, I get really excited and I start doing some crazy shit, and then my heart starts going, and then I like wake up. Vivid dreams are good. They mean they're actually getting REM sleep. Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, maybe. But it's so crazy how fast I get into it. It's like as soon as I fall asleep, it's just like boom, REM sleep. But I guess maybe that's how it normally is. I just thought that you really didn't get into REM sleep until like quite a few hours into your deepest zone. Maybe my brain is like speed run healing itself. There was no moon out that night, and you know how dark it can get in the mountains and the woods, right? I didn't see either of those guys carrying flashlights. It just kept getting weirder and weirder. I needed to plan my way out. I honestly spent close to 20 minutes imagining what kind of scenarios would happen when I set foot out of my tent. I knew that I wouldn't be able to see where those guys were, and they could come at me from any angle. I imagined a kitchen knife being plunged into my back. I had no choice, though. I mean, I had to get out of the tent. I couldn't just sit there and wait for their first move. So, with my heart racing, I decided to step out. I equipped myself with my maglite. True, Joel. Unless you are REM deprived, then you go immediately into it. Yeah, maybe that is the case. I have been feeling just like really... Well, you know, that's probably how I've been feeling, because like I've been stressed out about the gym. I know it sounds stupid, but like because I feel like my weeks have been going nonstop, where it's like I do these streams, you know, we still got probably another hour or two to go. It'll end up being 3 in the morning. I don't, fall asleep till like 4, and then I'm like setting my alarm and like not getting that much sleep and then going right into working out and shit. But yeah, oddly enough, with that BPC shit, my shoulder is actually feeling pretty fucking good, dude. I'm not even kidding. And so the shoulder issue had led to like bicep tendonitis or whatever, where like when I do pull-ups and shit, the transfer of like tension between like my lats up through, I guess, my rotator cuff maybe or some shit into my like bicep, forearm, hand kind of transfer of energy. Like my bicep would feel so fucking shitey, and it's actually getting better. So, I will also say that I've had assistance with that myofascial release, which I think made a huge difference. But I also recently had a friend of mine who, she does like PT stuff, and she wanted to test her dry needling out on me because she recently got certified for that, so she wanted to try it out, and I did that, and that was interesting because like you're just sitting there for like 10 minutes with like needles in your body, and you're like, what the fuck? And sometimes it'll kind of cause it to like twitch, but then once they're out, you really don't feel anything. But my one friend who did it before me said that he did it on his back, and they felt like the like areas in his back that had been tight for a while suddenly relaxed, like all based on pressure points and stuff. Has anyone had Reiki done? Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd feel about Reiki. The thing about this one is that it's a little bit more science-based in the sense that it's like going based on pressure point areas and not so much like the whole chakra thing or whatever. BPPC was a pure miracle for me. I'm so happy you all... Oh, you used it, Joni? I didn't even know that. My bad. That's cool. Did you do oral or did you do like subcutaneous? Like I didn't even know you did it before. That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta service your rotator cuff every 25.k. Oh, they injected it straight into your knee. Interesting. And was that, how long, was it like every day for like 2 weeks or something like that? Or I'm kind of jealous of the direct injections. And it's so ridiculous, dude. I'm so pissed at like that the FDA was like making it illegal for like pharmacies to like mix it for literally no reason. There's like next to no negative side effects for it. Like, when I first took it the day one, at least on the oral, I had like a slight headache, and that was fucking it. And then obviously I've had some weird dreams here and there, but overall I would say I've had like no negative effects. Yeah, and it's technically not like juice, it's not steroids. Like steroids, the definition of those are like exogenous hormones that like interrupt your natural production. But these basically just encourage your body to, it's like sends the signals to your body to do, its various like healing processes. And most people that after they get off of like a 2-month stent of it or whatever don't have any like negative drawbacks, side effects, or really any fucking long-term negative effects, or no negative effects really, and no it doesn't like how like sometimes people do steroids and it like, and then eventually their body like shuts down testosterone production if they get off of it, or they lose all their muscle. Apparently, this specific peptide, the BPC, doesn't like enhance muscular growth, but it like more specifically targets like healing injury sites and things like that. But it's supposedly systemic, where it's like healing not just like ligaments and tissues, but it's healing like your gut, and then it's healing like your neural pathways as well, which would be pretty sick because I don't want to, I would like my brain to continue to be operational for a while so I can keep smoking crack. You gained 8 pounds of muscle in a month? Was hard? How, Omega? Some people don't even gain, unless you're like a complete newbie who just started lifting. or if you're literally on juice. But most people don't gain 8 pounds in a whole year, to be honest with you. I mean, I could see maybe gaining like water weight. Oh, okay, complete newbie. Maybe. I mean, you can also do like body composition scans and stuff like that. Like checking your... Because you would want to compare your body fat percentage like to a standard that you've checked before. Because obviously you can gain a lot of water weight, shit like that. I mean, even newbies though, I don't know. 8 pounds of muscle in a month is a tall order. And the only thing I could really see doing that is something like steroids or tren or something, you know? I don't know. Reese's peanut butter trees, 5 pounds. Yeah, that's usually what I bulk with. I equipped myself with my mag light for self-defense. I slowly went out, but I couldn't see anyone out there. I thought that this might be my chance to get all my stuff packed up and get the hell out. I was making promises with all the known gods that if I got out of there safely, that this would be the last time I went on a solo camping trip. I was shoving things in my bag, but I stopped in my tracks when I heard the sound of approaching Excuse me. Just threw up everywhere. Just kidding. Entropic, thank you. Good to see you. Kaylee, you are bulking right now. You just need to lift some weights and it counts as bulking. I was shoving things into my bag, but I stopped in my tracks when I heard the sound of approaching footsteps. I looked up and saw those 2 men's silhouettes. I just carried on with packing my stuff, but then one of the men spoke up. "Are you going home? It's the middle of the night." I replied this time and I said something. Hey, Kuru. Sassy Baka, what's up, dude? Long time. I replied this time and I said something along the lines of, "Yeah, I had an urgent call. I gotta go." One of them replied, "We didn't hear a phone ring." I naturally turned to face them at this point. They knew that I was lying, and I shone my flashlight at them and saw that they were wearing dark robes. They had masks perched on top of their heads as if though they had just pulled them off of their faces. There was something very disturbing going on out here. They stood there and watched me frantically get my stuff together, and a thought came to my mind that really scared me. It was like my internal voice said to me, it was a short life. I really thought that this could be the end. I thought that they were about to attack. They didn't do anything though. They just stood and watched. I got my things together and I just bolted. I heard something weird as I was running. I knew that there were more people out in the mountains that night. I could tell there was. I heard footsteps, branches snapping. I swear I heard someone laugh, but most chillingly of all, I heard what sounded like a choir of voices begin to murmur something. I tripped and stumbled, and by the time I got to the foot of the mountain, I was covered in unseen cuts and bruises. I spent the rest of the night at the train station, and I didn't get any sleep. As soon as the first train arrived. What up, Trey? The McRib is back, baby. As soon as the first train arrived, I joined the morning commuters to... As soon as the first train arrived, I joined the morning... Why is that hard to say? Joined the morning commuters. As soon as the first train arrived, I joined the morning commuters and got out of there. I must have looked like a wreck. I was getting some strange looks as well. I kept my promise. That was the last time I went camping alone. It was a really terrifying experience, and I don't know what those people wearing robes and masks do out there in the woods, and I don't really want to find out. I have the feeling that I got away with something that night. Maybe it was down to the way I answered the questions they asked. Maybe they thought that I was a local. I don't know, but if I told them that I was on a trip and I wasn't from that area, maybe I wouldn't be sharing the story with you. Oh, and for those who are interested, this happened in Gifu, Japan. Damn, that would have sounded way better at the beginning of the story. What the hell is Gifu? This happened in Gilf, Japan. Gifu. Oh, nice. Gifu. Hey, Catherine, happy Friday to you. Oh, and for those interested, this happened in Gifu, Japan. Local gilfs in your area. They want to meet up. Gilfu? Hubs got me the Disney Parks cookbook for Christmas. So much for losing weight in 20 Yeah, man, losing weight is fucking hard, dude. Why is gaining it so fucking easy? I guess it just comes down to like what are they? The law of thermodynamics, right? The more you burn, the less you hold on to, right? And then the question is, how do you make your body burn more? And it's like, well, you need to turn it on. You need to make it active, probably through, activity. And yeah, obviously metabolism. Metabolism is one of those things, though, that when someone says that, there's no specifics to it. Like, to me, if you ever listen to like old psychology terminology, like, he's been afflicted with I don't even know a word. He's been afflicted with a horrible crux, or that's so bad. You know how like in old like psychology, there's always like some term that's so generalized, like he's been afflicted with generalized spook mania or some shit, like there's just a word that doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's just like, that's what metabolism is to me. Like, people say it and it doesn't mean he's been afflicted with hysteria. He's been afflicted with herpes. But I don't know. Basically, just saying that there's like so much more specifics to what having a good metabolism would indicate, and I kind of wish there was like an overall defined way to measure said metabolism. I guess you could do that with like your basal metabolic rate overall, but that's going to obviously fluctuate from person to person. And who knows? Maybe it's pretty consistent. I'm sorry, Peter. You've had it since you were born. The doctors, it was transferred from your mother. Age, metabolism, underlying health problems, depression, anxiety, all that contribute to difficulty to losing weight. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And at the end of the day, all you can do is experiment with what your body has. Like, we're not all going to be able to like take some like hyper-specific blood test to see like what's kicking and what's not. All you can really do is get in there, sweat, try to eat under that BMR. If you want to lose weight, eat over it, but like eat healthy if you want to gain, muscle with a little bit of fat. Always gonna, as they say, you're always gonna have to like make some dough to, make a cookie or bake a cookie. Yeah, you gotta make some dough to bake a cookie to get cut. But yeah, it's the losing is the hard part. Lost 70 pounds by starve maxing. Hell yeah, dude. Just sitting inside of a cage all day, looking at passerbys. What do I try to eat for breakfast? Lately, it's like I have a protein shake, I'll have eggs, I'll have berries with honey on it, and then I'll have some oatmeal. And I feel like usually that puts me around like 1,000 to like 1,100 calories in the morning. Later on, I have protein shake again with like just like burgers, but they'll have like cheese in them, which actually adds a lot of calories to them. Some more berries with or without honey. I don't know. I really need to like hone in on what burger protein shake. No, they're not mixed together. The protein shakes and the berries are usually after the workout, and then the burger is like later on. Have you done catfish stories? Yepper. What's up, Sarah? Grits with butter, sugar, and milk. Yeah, I haven't had grits in forever. I must live in California, not quite. Hopefully never. Burgers and berries. Whatever, you know. Have you started? Is it just the beginning? We have started. Yeah, this is story 3. Bone, thanks for being here. What are grits? Let's see, what are grits? Grits are a popular southern dish in the United States made from ground, dried corn, usually maize. They are typically served as hot, creamy porridge-like side dish. Grits can be served as a savory dish, often served with butter, cheese, salt, and pepper, or as a sweet dish with ingredients like sugar, cinnamon, or honey. They have a mild, slightly grainy texture and are a staple in southern cuisine, often served alongside dishes like fried chicken, shrimp, and grits, or as a breakfast item. Grits can be made from various types of corn, including white or yellow corn. They come from different coarseness levels, such as stone ground or instant grits, depending on how finely the corn is ground and how long they take to cook. Nice. Get gritter done. I'm having some real difficulty sleeping tonight. I've been reading scary stories, and that probably doesn't help. I read one that reminded me of an experience I had the last time that I had trouble sleeping, and I figured I'd share it with you. I went back home this summer, and I'm writing this in September, by the way. My hometown is really far away from where I currently live. During the journey home, I fell asleep on the Shinkansen? Oh, is that the bullet train? Shinkansen. Shinkansen. See, I feel like that'd be kind of a good one to start with. Just because if it's going to be Japanese stories, I feel like you need like Japanese words like referenced. Otherwise, just to make it feel more like they're there. Ah, nice. Shinkansen. Thanks, Bone, you helped me. During the journey home, I fell asleep on the Shinkansen, the bullet train. I wanted to... fuck. I only wanted to sleep for about an hour, but I slept for like 4, I think. I got home and greeted my parents, and after I had dinner with my parents and they went up to bed, I found myself unable to sleep. I was so restless, and I knew that the next morning we were all going to be going on an important trip. I figured that the best thing I could do would be to take a walk. I hoped that that night air would just help me feel a little sleepy and wind down. I went to the local convenience store. I think I got there just after 1 a.m. I went in and wandered over to the magazine rack in the corner. I was looking at the adult entertainment thinking that that might help me get to sleep. And it was at that point that I sensed something. I felt that horrible feeling you get when you just know that someone is watching you. I looked up to see an old man staring at me through the window of the convenience store. I thought, well, this is kind of awkward. And there I was looking through the specialist gentleman's material, and unbeknownst to me, I was being watched. I felt like it would be even more awkward if I looked up at him directly in his eyes. I did, however, take a quick covert look at the guy while pretending to browse. I remember he had a dirty white t-shirt on and he was overweight. It didn't look like he had washed for a while. He looked very disheveled. It was obvious that he was staring at me, and it was something that I was willing to Bone, somebody mentioned your profile picture, and I'm looking at it. It's, I forget the guy's name. I've seen him on Instagram, but he's like a bodybuilder, but he's able to like make his like eyes and like veins like bulge out of his skin and stuff, and it just like looks very jarring. Like they should, like the joke is like he'll be saying something and then it'll just like cut to him with his shirt off and like all of his veins and like blood is like bulging out of his body, and then it'll go back to normal. He's pretty funny. It was obvious that he was staring at me, and it wasn't something that I was willing to stand any longer. I moved away and into another aisle. I was looking at the drinks, and I picked a relaxing tea and went to the register. The clerk behind the till fixed me with a look between nervousness and the awkward, and then I said, "Hey, that guy out there, he looks a little off, right? He was just staring at me a minute ago." Yeah, I actually noticed that," he replied. "Are you the only one working tonight?" I asked. Yeah, that's right." I noticed that he was pretty young, and he looked scared too. I think that he must have been between maybe 18 to 20 years old, and I wasn't much older than him, by the way. I was only 24. So I said to him, "Hey, I don't like the look of that guy. Do you mind if I just hang out here? I'll pretend to browse and hopefully after a while just go away." He looked at me like he had just been given a birthday present and said, Yes, thank you." I guess he was just as creeped out by him as I was. I think I was there browsing and chatting with the clerk for about half an hour to an hour, and it started to get a little light out. All the while we were hiding out in the store from that weirdo, he remained out there just staring at us through the window. All the while we were hiding out in the store from that weirdo, he remained out there staring in at us. At times it looked like he was in deep contemplation, at other times... Come on. At times it looked like he was in deep contemplation, and at other times it looked like there wasn't a single thought in his head. Something was just off. A truck pulled into the convenience store's parking lot, and as soon as it did, we saw that weird guy just sort of saunter off someplace, and the truck driver came in. He looked over at us and said, "Did you see that guy out there? He's out there with a goddamn knife behind his back." I was shocked and scared, to be honest. I called a taxi as I didn't want to walk home, and the clerk called the cops. I didn't really realize how close I was to a situation that was potentially life-threatening. Stay safe out there and trust your gut. All right. Story 3 in the books. Story numero 4. Taking down the Xmas tree while listening at 6 a.m. is too early, or for Bailey's, it's the perfect time. Was that a redneck accent? I thought it was just sort of like, hey, what the hell? You know, like, I'm a truck driver. Fuck. This happened when I was a newlywed. My husband and I went to visit his mother in his rural family hometown in Kyushu. Let's see, Kyushu. Is there a K in there? Or just Kyushu? Kyushu. Yeah. It's a town, I guess. Kyushu. This happened when I was a newlywed. My husband and I went to visit his mother in his rural family hometown in Kyushu. He said that he was from a small town, but it was smaller than I imagined. Another reason we headed back to his hometown was because his father was in the hospital. My sister-in-law was a student, so she wasn't home. So that left his mother and my mother-in-law essentially home alone, and she didn't have a driver's license, so it made getting around in the countryside very difficult. She could walk to most places, and of course there were buses and taxis, but occasionally you just need a car, don't you? She needed a bunch of gardening supplies. We arrived in Kyushu on the Shinkansen. Man, I keep forgetting that one. I know what it is, but I keep saying it wrong. Shinkansen. Oh, there's 6 people for not kidding. Shinkansen. Thanks, Bone. I'm trying. Shinkansen. We arrived in Kyushu on the Shinkansen. My husband would drive his mom around in his father's car. I was planning on going with them, but I suffer with anemia and I almost collapsed on the train. When my mother-in-law saw me, she said that I looked pale. She told me that I would be better off staying home, and I didn't mind that idea. My husband's room had been left the way it was since he graduated from high school. Same bed, same desk, and I got into bed and shut my eyes. Now I should say that I'm a pretty deep sleeper. I experienced and slept through the great Henshin earthquake. Cyberpup, what's up, dude? Hanshin. Miniature schnauzer? What do you mean? I experienced and slept through the great Hanshin earthquake, and I came out unscathed. Also, I have somehow slept through a 5.0 earthquake, too. I had no idea it happened. I just turned on the TV in the evening and saw the news, and it was truly shocking. So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while, I guess before I even began to feel slightly restless. Wait, what? So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while. I guess before I... Oh, okay. Okay, I see. The Hanshin earthquake was in 1995? Oh, okay. Interesting. WB, thank you. Why do I not see all the messages, even if I'm on all messages, not just 2 messages? Have you clicked live chat? Is that what you mean? So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while, and I guess before I began to feel, man, like one comma, without a comma it gets so confusing. So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while, I guess. Maybe I should just put the rest through grammar. Oh, of course it says bad words in it. Is this Joel? Yep. 'Tis. Alright, what am I doing? Reading. Okay, I wasn't used to sleeping alone, so when I thought I sensed some movement on the bed, oh wait. 5.0 earthquake. Okay, let me figure out how to say the sentence. So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while, I guess, before I began. Okay. So there I was, sleeping soundly on my husband's childhood bed for a while, I guess before I began to feel slightly restless. I put it down to being asleep in someplace different. You know, like when you miss the comforts of home, or you wake up in the middle of the night at a friend's place and you're confused and the initial thought is, where am I? It was something like that. I wasn't used to sleeping alone, so when I thought I sensed some movement on the bed, I immediately thought that, my husband is back home earlier than expected. In dreamy thought that he saw me sleeping. What is it? In dreamily thought that he's... Oh. And maybe Anne dreamily thought. And dreamily I thought that he saw me sleeping and he felt like joining me for a while. After a few moments I felt like something was off. He was a little more ambitious, shall we say, with what he thought that he could get away with at his parents' home. I was more than half awake at this point, and I knew something was off. I felt something moving beneath the covers, beneath my skirt. I felt a hand try and part my legs and breathe on bare thighs. I opened my eyes, threw off the covers, and saw that... I opened my eyes, threw off the covers, and saw that it wasn't my husband. It was an old man in the bed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He saw that I was awake and immediately tried to overpower me. "I want to see what you look like." And that's what this guy said as he tried to grab at my clothing. And at first, I was speechless. I was in this stunned state that I couldn't believe it was happening. I couldn't scream right away, but then my brain kicked into gear. I leaned over to the bedside table, grabbed my phone, and dialed the number for the cops. I kicked at the old man with all my might, and he went toppling off of the bed. I took my chance and ran as fast as I could down the stairs. I heard the old man cussing at me and saying something else disgusting up there as he got to his feet. I bolted out the front door and ran across the street, where I was immediately spotted by another old guy who was washing his car. I was screaming, and it was all just so horrible. I screamed at the man for help, and then I just began to cry. The wife of the guy who was washing his car came out and ushered me into their home to take refuge, where I waited with them until the police arrived. While I was explaining the situation, my husband and mother-in-law returned home. As I was telling the police everything through tear-filled eyes and heavy sobs, the old man, the guy who got into bed with me, came out of my mother-in-law's house. He came out of their house and just sort of meandered off down the street as if though nothing had happened. That didn't work out too well for him because he was instantly arrested. Now my husband and his mother were back and were able to tell me a few things about that old man. It turned out that he lived just up the street on the opposite side. He was living with his two 40-something-year-old sons who didn't work. He didn't work either, and apparently he had a young wife, but she didn't live with him, and you wonder why, huh? It turned out that he was jealous of my husband and the life that he had with me outside of the small town. He told the police that because I was from the city and wearing different clothes and was, quote, glamorous, I looked easy to him. So he told the police when he broke in that he had committed no crime. He was simply trying to ascertain if I was a lady of the night or not. Wait. I'm trying to remember what the word... It's not prostitute. It's not lady of the night. It's not sex worker. Escort. That's what I'm thinking. Escort. I keep trying to think of like YouTube-friendly word to say that still gets the message across. Concubine, not quite. Maybe. I guess if he was like a king. So he told the police when he broke in that he had committed no crime. He was simply trying to ascertain if I was an escort or not. Naturally, he was taken away in a police car. We were planning on staying that night, but I didn't want to after that. I don't think I was being difficult by wanting to go home. Before leaving, my husband and his mother informed me that the old man was a very important person in their town, and I didn't care. What that man tried to do would have been irreversible. I was fully prepared to sue this man, but I was asked multiple times to find a more amicable A humpster. A Jezebel. A working gal. There you go. I was fully prepared to sue this man, but I was asked multiple times to find a more amicable resolution. They kept telling me that they wanted a peaceful end to the matter, and I was aghast. It wasn't as simple as that. Fuck, I keep like missing words. And I was aghast. It wasn't as simple as that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get them to see that. In the end, there was no apology, no settlement, and no punishment for this old man, and I cried myself to sleep that night. Is this just something that just happens in small towns? God, I hope not. Alright, story 4 into books. That is sad. I feel like is that a common... Bone, you're from Japan. Is that sort of like... kind of makes sense that things ended that way? Because I feel like... I don't know. I feel like from the stories I've read in Japan... there is a degree of them that have a consistency where it's like an old man who sees someone who's like from out of the area, and for whatever reason is so overcome by their like sexual desire for the person that they like seemingly can't not help themselves to be rapey. Alright, what did I say? Story 5 or 4. Yeah, this is story 5. Okay. I'm from the countryside. In fact, my family home lies just behind the shadow of a very tall mountain, and the land that mountain stands on is actually owned by my grandfather. Our family have always been happy to allow villagers to use the land as long as a small portion of their profits are shared with us. And by that I mean the grounds are free to walk, the fields are free to work, and the game is free to hunt. And to me, that doesn't seem that much of a bad deal. To my family's history of being somewhat more than kind with this arrangement, we have been beset by thieves over the years. Since our family wanted to make sure we continued this community spirit, the older men in my family offered to patrol the mountain ranges at night in search of these thieves. My family would often remind me of areas of the mountain range that would be dangerous at night. In other words, it was for adults only, no children allowed. It didn't stop me and my friends exploring, though. We found out pretty quickly why the adults didn't want to play in those areas. For one, the wildlife, but more realistically, there was a pretty deep cave, and to us kids, that cave was one of our favorite playgrounds. So that leads me to this experience I had when I was a kid, which I'm certain that will live. Many foreigners like to grope, but don't worry about the police. Interesting. Do my family's history, my family also, my adults didn't want to play in those areas, so this leaves me, okay. Here we are. So that leads me to this experience I had when I was a kid, which I'm certain will live with me for the rest of my days. I was playing in the forbidden areas of the mountain range like normal in the cave, and all of a sudden I had the urge to pee, so I decided to head out and do it behind a tree. We were usually nervous about being in places where we were explicitly told not to play in, but being caught peeing out there really gave me the willies. If you will, pardon the expression, I was basically double scared of being caught. I kept looking around to make sure the coast was clear, but then, as I was midstream, I saw someone. There was a stranger walking up towards the cave, and he was down by the river. I shot back behind the tree. I didn't even have a chance to pull my pants up. It was some middle-aged guy. I didn't know the man. I hadn't ever seen him before. I knew everyone who was permitted to use the mountain range. It was like a big village. My family had been talking about someone who was stealing mushrooms. It made sense that this stranger could be a thief. He was carrying a backpack and was clearly on the lookout for something. If this was the thief that my family had been worried about, then I didn't want to be seen by him. I stayed as still as possible out of sight of the trees. Stayed as still as possible out of sight in the trees and... Wait, what does it say? I stayed as still as possible out of sight in the trees and bushes. Oh, I see. Okay. I stayed as still as possible out of sight in the trees and bushes. I felt like such an idiot. This was exactly what I had been warned about. I watched the stranger. It looked like he was looking for something and he was being cautious. I kept an eye on him to make sure that he didn't spot me or come too close. I mean, I had no plan if he came close. I was just scared to take my eyes off of him. I watched him for a while, and then I noticed someone was approaching from behind him, and I knew that guy very well. He was my uncle. He approached the stranger, and he was holding a shovel. He told the guy, and it looked like those two were having a conversation. I was too far away to make out anything that they were saying. My uncle seemed to be admonishing the guy, giving him a real telling off, you know. The stranger, or should I say thief, took off his backpack at what looked like the order of my uncle. Hey, Solly with the 10. Thank you, Solly. If you have a message, please do leave it. Wait, where was I? But in the moment, he didn't look like... Wait, my uncle then walked up... Wait, my uncle smacked... My uncle. When you have a monkey uncle, it is a munkle. The stranger, or should I say thief, took off his backpack at what looked like the order of my uncle. My uncle then snatched the thief's backpack. He opened it, and I saw my uncle get very angry at him, and then something happened that I didn't think would ever be a possibility. My uncle smacked the thief across the back of the head with a shovel. The thief went limp and fell flat on his face in the dirt. My uncle then dragged the stranger into the river and watched as his lifeless body bobbed downstream. My uncle then walked off in the opposite direction like nothing had happened. And that scared the hell out of me. My uncle was the younger of the two brothers, the elder being my dad, and man, my uncle had my sides aching so many times And that scared the hell out of me. My uncle was the younger of the two brothers, the elder being my dad, and man, my uncle had my sides aching so many times when I was a kid. He was hilarious. But in that moment, he didn't look anything like himself. He looked so cold and expressionless. It gets worse because he came around to our house for dinner that night, and I had to sit opposite him knowing what I knew. He was smiling and joking as usual. It was like nothing had happened. At one point, he looked me right in the eyes, and I thought to myself for a brief second while he and my father spoke about trespassers on the mountain range. Do you know? The thief didn't ever come back. Audrey with the 2 says, "In Joel we trust as our human melatonin." I got you. Never fear. There's a good amount of perverts and thieves in Japan, the primary crimes. That's good, I guess. Like, there's not, like, crazy violent crimes. I mean, I guess pervs can get violent. But it does sound like Japan, for the most part, is pretty low crime. Never fear, Joel is here. Bicycle theft is the most common. Interesting. Just ride a unicycle. The thief didn't ever come back. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I can guess based on what I saw. If he did manage to get away, he never went to the police or anything. I learned about that adult world they warned me about with their off-limit areas that day. And I really don't think I could ever look at my uncle the same. Damn, son, where'd you find this? They pay to cuddle with ladies at lunchtime. I guess, yeah, I've always been curious about the panty vending machines. I'm just curious about the smells. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just such an abstract concept within a cultural thing. Like, the vending machine idea is cool, but like putting panties in there is kind of next level. I'm gonna get one for my local Walmart. That'd be so funny. You start up a vending machine like business in your like local area, but it's specifically panties. You haven't slept in days, Rebecca? I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, yeah, do people smoke pot in Japan? For some reason, I have this weird feeling that pot would be one of those things that you get you get hung in town square if you get caught with it. You never saw a panty vending machine? Damn. Well, then I ain't ever going. Or, Bone, that's your next business opportunity right there. Alright. Parasite actor died because of South Korea's war on drugs. What do you mean? Was he shot? I think we read about that last time. Didn't he OD on something, or what happened? Weed and K are the new California sober. Yeah, I don't really understand that with K, ketamine, because ketamine is pretty addictive, is it not? And like pretty bad for you? Could be wrong, but I definitely don't think it's good for you. Yeah, I would love to go to Japan, to be honest. Bone, if we go to Japan, how do we... Is there some place there we can go and like have somebody give us a tour of the whole of everywhere? Or just take us everywhere? Because his interrogation was 19 hours. Oh, wait, he got interrogated for drugs or something? Yeah, I heard that, ketamine killed Matthew Perry. That's nuts. It's horse tranquilizer. Right, yeah. I mean, I don't really like the idea of, like, normalizing it. Like, it's chill. It's chill. Everyone should just disassociate from their existence forever. You don't care for tours. They're so restrictive. I don't like being tied to a schedule. Well, that's fair, too. I just sometimes don't even know what I would do. I was stationed in Japan for a couple of years. I loved it. Definitely want to go back. Oh, okay, nice. Miyajima and maybe Onomichi. If you enjoy traditional, then the Nijo Castle has military history. Interesting. Yeah, I'd love to see Mount Fuji, but I guess you could see it from lots of places. I always really wanted to go to... Was it Akigahara, the suicide forest? Something about it seemed like oddly tranquil. Yeah. Yeah, the hot springs, that'd be sick. I really want to see sumo wrestling. Have you ever talked about Unit 731? I have, yeah. on one of the older Japanese stories videos. Oh, you've never been to Fuji? Oh, interesting. I guess that makes sense. Like, I mean, we live in the United States, and there's so much shit that I have not seen. And, unless you have somebody to motivate you to go, but maybe it's worth it. Jump on a train and check out for a day, weekend. Ketamine is actually a treatment for some illnesses, only needs to be strict about it, but it does have benefits for some. I see too many mates down the K-hole, and it's a pass for me. Yeah, it seems like one of those very thin lines where, like, somebody saw some therapeutic benefit, but, like, I can only imagine. I mean, I'm sure in the same way that they're, like, in the same way that you can OD on Xanax, shit like that. This happened to me in my early 20s, and as a direct result of this experience, I have developed a strong fear and mistrust of the opposite gender, and for that reason, I'll be keeping my identity anonymous. It happened one night when I was on my way home from work. I got off the train at my usual station, and I was walking down the street in the direction of home. I had my earbuds in. I had my earbuds in and I was listening to music. It was just an ordinary night. As I was walking, I sensed a presence behind me, so I naturally glanced back. I guessed that I might have been in someone's way or something. I looked back to see a man on a bicycle. Damn. I think my brain's starting to shut down. I looked back to see a man on a bicycle. He was wearing a surgical mask, so I couldn't see his face clearly. He looked young, and when I heard his voice, I guessed that he was about the same age as me. He said something along the lines of, "Hey, when I saw you, I knew that I just had to stop and talk to you. You're so my type. Are you free right now?" Realizing this guy was... Damn. I feel like I'm like have a concussion from these stories. Realizing that this guy was just trying to hit on me, I pretended that I couldn't hear anything over my music. I just kept walking, hoping that he would just leave me alone. "Hey, can't you hear me? Are you busy? What is it? Why don't you just give me your contact information? I won't even contact you." Then why the hell do you want my number, I wondered. I realized that creep wasn't going to get the hint, so I decided to start twerking in front of him. Yo, Ree with the 30. Buccarino says, "Hope everyone had a magical Christmas. Wishing you all a very safe and happy New Year. Good night." Thank you, Ree. Good to see you. Thank you so much. With a GAT attack, hell yeah. Giving my booty a concussion, bouncing around so much. Very, very kind. Thank you again. Realizing that this guy was trying to hit on me, I pretended that I couldn't hear anything over my music, and I just kept walking, hoping that he would leave me alone. "Hey, can't you hear me? Or are you busy? What is it? Why don't you give me your contact information? I won't even contact you." Then why the hell do you want my number, I wondered. I realized that creep wasn't going to get the hint, so I decided to go a little stronger. I made a big gesture of turning my head away from him and up my pace so he wasn't as close. He did freak me out, but it only took me about another 3 or 4 minutes to get home, so I just focused on what I wanted to do. I got in. "Hey, Lila, what's up, dog?" He did freak me out, but it only took me about another 3 or 4 minutes to get home, so I just focused on what I wanted to do. I got in. Oh, once I got in, maybe. Get. Gat. Gat attack. Well, how are you supposed to say gat? Gat. I wonder if it's on Forvo. That'd be really funny. Oh, it's not. Damn. Dog sitting for the first time at someone's house. The dog keeps barking into the abyss. I'm scared. Well, at least you're not alone. He did freak me out, but it only took me about another 3 or 4 minutes to get home, so I was just focused on what I wanted to do once I got in. I told myself soon I would be sitting on my sofa watching a movie behind a locked door, and I didn't look back and I just kept walking. I get to my place and I have to go along some busier streets and some quieter ones. When I turned off to head down a quieter street, I noticed something. Suddenly from behind me I heard some kind of clanking sound. It sounded like metal rubbing against metal. I turned around to see what was coming, and I saw amidst the darkness of the night, I saw a guy wearing a surgical mask coming right at me on his bicycle. I thought that our brief and horrible exchange was over, but it seemed pretty clear to me now that he'd been following me. My first thought was a really strange one. Even if I ran home as soon as I... Oops. Whoopsie daisy. Gat. Oh, it's like saying yacht. Gat. 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 Damn. Gat. 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 Boomba cha. Boomba cluck. Gat. Gat. My first thought was a really strange one. Even if I ran home as fast as I could, he would still catch me. It was true. He had a bike, and with that thought came a kind of internal avalanche of fear. I was confused and scared, and I wanted nothing more than to be off of those dark streets. I remember that there was a coin laundry nearby that I sometimes use, and I figured that I could get there and into the light in about 10 seconds, and there might still be people there too. If I was lucky enough to find someone in the laundromat, that guy... If I was lucky enough. Weezer 407 Narnia with a 5 says, sorry I had to temporarily remove my membership. Work shorted me a few of my checks by almost $200, so I couldn't afford it in its ongoing battle. Hey, no worries. I'm sorry that you're getting shorted there from work. I don't know what that sounds crazy to deal with, honestly. But thank you for the 5, seriously. And don't even fret. Don't even be fretting. Don't even be Flintstoning. Just secure the gat. Hey, Symphony, good to see you. If I was lucky enough to find someone in the laundromat, If I was lucky enough to find someone in the laundromat, then that guy would probably go away. If not, I could lock the door from the inside if I have to, and then I could call the police. I turned and started sprinting. The metal clanking sound was getting louder, which I guessed now was probably the pedals of his worn-out bike. I knew without turning around that meant that he must be pedaling faster in pursuit of me. I threw open the door to the laundromat and got in without the creep catching up to me. Of course, no one was in there. There were no other customers. And that was just the kind of luck that I was having that night. I locked the door. I knew how to lock the door because I had seen the owner do it. I locked the door and I headed right to the back of the room. I was shaking with fear and breathing heavily. I grabbed my phone, and as I was frantically trying to unlock it, I saw a shadow appear in front of the door outside. The guy who was following me had arrived, and he dropped his bike to the ground and started trying to open the door, but then he realized that I had locked it, and this angered him. Hey, open the door. Come on, just open it. Come on, it's not like I'm gonna do anything to you. I won't do anything. Okay, fine, just give me your number. I won't contact you, but if you give it to me, I'll go away. Just open the door. Come on, open up. He was saying all sorts of weird stuff like that. And I remember because he said he wanted my number, but he wouldn't contact me earlier. And now he was saying, open the door, I'm not going to do anything to you. The way he was double-speaking really creeped me out. It was like his true intentions were slipping out when he was getting frustrated. I wondered what more would happen to me if he got even more frustrated. He started pounding on the door with his clenched fists and shaking the handle, and the door was shaking in its frame. The door was primarily made of glass, so I wasn't sure how much of a beating it would be able to take. I was absolutely terrified of what was going to happen to me if this man was going to get in. It was time to do something. I couldn't just stand there cowering and waiting for him to get in. I yelled at him. I told him that I was going to call the police and that they would be here any minute. And I said, "You better stop, you idiot." He stopped banging on the door and calmly dropped his arms down to his side. He looked at me in the eyes, and I knew that he hated me. And I think I had upset his ego by calling him an idiot. He then pointed at me and said, "I'm gonna kill you." And then he turned and kept muttering something, but I couldn't hear it. And then he picked up his bike and left. I couldn't move for another 10 minutes, but I had to when an actual customer came to use the laundromat. I unlocked the door with my trembling hands, and then I called the police. I made sure someone stayed with me on the phone until I got home. I got home safely that night, and I hated that night at home, though. Zero creep game. Absolute. No game, no riz, no jizz. I have to ask, how old am I? I am 33. Got your sister hooked up on your vids now. She's been listening the whole day. Oh, nice, Charlie. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, word of mouth is definitely the best way to grow the channel, so I appreciate you. Bro was hesitant. No, I forgot, because I remember next year in June I'll be 34, so I don't know, for some reason, I don't remember turning 30, and I don't remember any of my, previous birthdays now. It's kind of weird. There's no, distinctive memories between, 30 and 33. I guess 33 would be whenever I got 1 million subscribers. That's pretty cool, I guess. Dirty floor. I got home safely that night, but I hated that night at home, though. Because that horrible experience happened on a road I regularly used to get home. It led to a lot of fear and negativity during my commutes to work, and it really ruined my life. In order to get back to being myself again, I had to move. I had to get away. I couldn't live each day wondering if I would run into that crazy man again or... I couldn't live each day wondering if I would run into that crazy man again or not. And thankfully I never did, but it scares me still man, my voice is cracking now. Thankfully I never did, but it scares me still to this day, knowing that he could still be somewhere out there. Oh, slurping up my noodles. God, a big bowl of noodles would be so good. Every time I do that, I think of Dwight Schrute whenever he's wearing that CPR dummy's face. He cuts off the face and wears it. He's like, "Hello, Clarice. The precious heart." Fava beans. All right. Oh yeah, magnesium time. Good point. Thank you, Fry. I will take that and be right back for our last story here. The last one's pretty long, so that's kind of good, I guess. Alright, BRB. fucking surrounded! Ah! Fry's gonna fish me out. Fish me out of the fish fry. Everybody get down. Get down, Mr. President, get down. We got them right where we want them. I rubbed some dirt on my cock. I'm ready to go. Every time I hear Soldier 76 say that, I'm like, where's he rubbing that dirt? I've been up since 3 a.m. Can't sleep these days. Probably my anxiety. Thankfully, I'm off work today, but this chat and Joel are a lovely distraction. So thankful to use. Happy New Year's, Legends. Thanks, Heather. Sorry about your lack of sleep, but hopefully it'll find you here eventually. McDonald's fries. Hell yeah, bro. Joel's OnlyFans, but it's reading. Do they have that? Just like audio OnlyFans bullshit? Maybe a sex twerker. Read schmut. Schmutton chops. Oh, you have to be naked? Man. You have to, like, send a resume into the owners of the website. You're not naked. Be such a, I mean, I don't know. It's not that I would be desperate for money, but I'd have to be in quite a position to start a grunting OnlyFans. Only grunts. Me, Gronk. Gronk horny. Gronk feel horny. Want to see gat. They say you no say gat. It gat. Gat dang. Okay. I've had some horrible experiences in the past, and I want to share these with you. It all happened about 2 years ago. I got a job and moved out of my family home. One night I was walking home from the station as usual after work. It wasn't a long walk, it only took about 5 minutes in total. I was heading home that night and felt like something was out of place. I felt as if though someone was following me. I turned around, but I didn't see anyone. I thought that I was just being paranoid or something, but this odd feeling lasted for about a week. Every time I headed home after school from the station. It bothered me so much. It bothered me so much that I spoke to a work colleague about it, and he told me, if you're worried or scared about what's happening, then why don't you just go to the police? I didn't think that I had anything to go on. I mean, what would they do about it if I told them that I thought that I was being followed? I tried not to think about it, but then one night, something happened and my paranoia was justified. I got a letter at work. It was addressed to me. I opened it and shrieked as it read, "I am always watching you." I showed it to my boss, and he really didn't seem to care. He wasn't interested at all, to be honest, and it really scared me. I didn't know if it was a prank because I was told some colleagues. It really scared me, and I didn't know if it was a prank because I had told some colleagues about my fears. I thought that would be the worst thing that would happen, but I was proven wrong. One time I got a call from a private number and I picked it up and a male voice said, "Are you just getting in? A little earlier than usual tonight, huh?" I was really scared and full of anxiety, but somehow I managed to muster up the courage to ask in what I guess was a very shaky voice, "Who are you?" And knowing full well that this was likely the person who had been following me and who had sent that creepy letter to my workplace, so I said, "You're the guy who's following me." To which he replied something along the lines of, "Oh, you noticed. What a sharp sense of intuition you have. I'm surprised." And I replied that I was calling the police. "That doesn't matter," he said back instantly. I felt my spirit sinking in my chest like a lead weight, so I just hung up. And I spent the night awake late thinking that there was nothing I could do about the situation, and I felt so helpless. I barely slept, but I did come out of the situation thinking that it wasn't. I am the police. Oh, I'm the police. Oh, that's the sound of the sirens. Oh. I barely slept, but I did come out of the situation thinking that it wasn't completely hopeless. I figured that whoever was stalking me knew my work and my train schedule, so I decided to work by car. It was a little more inconvenient, but after that call I didn't feel safe sat opposite a stranger on the train. I was still scared though, and I still talked to my coworkers about what was going on. For a long while there was nothing. I figured that the stalker must have given up and lost interest. My fears returned when I opened a letter one night after work, and the letter hadn't been addressed, it was hand-delivered. I knew the sender before I read a single word, but this is what it said. "Yesterday a friend came over and you and her talked about me. I'm so glad you care about me and that I'm part of your life." Throughout the letter it spoke of the contents of my friend and I's conversation. It was horrible. It was like someone knew my inner thoughts. I thought about it for a long while, and the most logical conclusion I came to was where someone had somehow hidden a listening device in my home. If that was true, I felt like it was 100 fuck. If that was true, I felt like it was 1000% true at the time. It must mean that someone had gotten in my apartment. Some stranger must have gotten in. If you ever suspect that this might have happened to you, you will know how that realization makes you feel so incredibly violated. I sat there thinking, well, I must have had a bunch of friends and coworkers over, not to mention the previous tenants living here and anyone that had brought... Fuck. I sat there thinking, whoa, I must have had a bunch of friends and coworkers over, not to mention the previous tenant lived here and anyone they had brought in. I have had mostly women over since I myself am a woman, and come to think of it, I've had a mix of guys and girls over for drinking parties once in a while. Some of the guys have been over too, and some other friends as well. I had no idea if any of them were shady or capable of becoming a stalker. I couldn't figure out who the guy harassing me was, and I also couldn't really move. I just didn't have the money, and I really didn't want a couple of weird letters and calls giving me a reason to leave an apartment that I really enjoyed. I mean, what was the alternative? Go back home and live with mom and dad? They weren't exactly local. Talking about my parents will send me down a whole nother rabbit hole, and on top of that, I didn't have savings or anything. I couldn't move even if I wanted to. Things quieted down after that, like it did before, and I just kind of thought, or maybe hoped, is the operative word here, that the stalker had moved on. I think about 3 months went by incident-free. I had returned to my usual work-life rhythm and my confidence was back, and I carried on like nothing had happened. Things were all good for a while until I came to a realization. I was missing something from my bedroom. Underwear. I was missing some underwear. At first I thought of all the usual kind of thoughts like, oh, did I lose it? I can understand me losing one set of underwear like a bra or panties. That just happens to everyone, right? But 3 items? That's pretty weird, isn't it? I live on the 2nd floor of an apartment block. I never dried my clothes outside on my balcony, and therefore, for them to go missing meant that they must have been removed from my apartment. I thought that something very strange was going on. It was terrifying. I returned one night to find a memo attached to the fridge. It was just your run-of-the-mill post-it note, actually. Occasionally my mom would come over and leave me something on the fridge, so... Fuck. It was the panties were stolen to start that vending machine business we were talking about. Occasionally my mom would come over and leave me something in the fridge, so I thought that this was just my mom looking out for me. One look at the post-it without reading its full contents told me that it wasn't written by my mother. No one in my family, actually. And the post-it read, "Have you noticed that your underwear is missing? I guess you wonder where it's gone. I have it." I was scared, like to the point in which you just don't know what to do. I was being terrorized, and I was scared that it was the plainest way I could... I was being terrorized, and I was scared. It is the plainest way... Okay. I was being terrorized, and I was scared. That's the plainest way I can put it. Oh, fuck. Oh, man.
Ah, man. God damn. I'm on the struggle bus today, baby.
Oh, yeah, here we go again. All right, have you noticed? I kind of love, like, the direct translations. Like, you know that there's probably, like, maybe some degree of, like, poeticness to the writing, but it's, like, so very matter of fact. Have you noticed that your underwear is missing? I guess you wonder where it's gone. I have it. Me, your stalker. I have your panties. Your mom took it when she came over and dropped off some delicious leftovers. They were not the most helpful. Okay. I was being terrorized. I was being terrorized, and I was scared. It's the easiest way I can say it. And so I called the police. And I must have sounded so weird. I must have sounded so dumb, but I told them everything. They were not the most helpful people to contact in that situation. I mean, they listened, but they would always try to talk me back around to a message. And that message was, just move. It'll be easier for everyone if you just move apartments. And that seemed to be the message coming out of my colleagues and friends too, but that's kind of funny about, like, Japanese culture is that, like, it seems like they never put any sort of credence on, like, finding the person that's doing the bad thing. It's like it always seems to fall on, like, the victim's shoulders in some weird way to, like, make things better for themselves, which might be kind of good, I guess, like, in the sense of, you know, taking things into your own hands, but it also seems to just, like, downplay the crazy shit that someone would be going through. Like, that would suck to have a crazy fucking stalker and not a single person you talk to would, like, be like, holy shit, that sucks, man. But all of them are just like, well, have you thought about taking all your stuff and going to another place? Not even, like, telling you to, like, beat them up or anything, like, just telling you to let them win. Yeah, booby traps for sure. Setting up some Home Alone shit. Yeah, have you thought about uprooting your entire existence? Hey, what's up, Lucas? How goes it? That seemed to be the message coming out of my colleagues and friends too, but once again, I have to say I couldn't afford it. I mean, I guess that is great advice for someone who could afford it, but I really couldn't. So I hatched a genius plan. I figured that if I replaced the locks in my doors, then my troubles would end. I mean, replacing locks seemed like a lot cheaper and a lot less hassle than moving. I felt that it worked, though. I even left a pile of my underwear freshly laundered on my coffee table for about a week or so, and they remained untouched. You left a pair of underwear under like one of those like cardboard boxes with like a stick and a piece of string, like a Looney Tune, catch them inside of there, or like a mouse trap with a pair of panties on it. And you come back and it's Dobby from Harry Potter's just like had his neck snapped inside of the mousetrap. Yeah, have you thought about not wearing underwear? Exactly. Easy fix. Easy Japanese fix. We got all the solutions. Have you thought about marrying your stalker? I mean, they really like you. I felt like it worked, though. I even left a pile of my underwear freshly laundered on my coffee table for about a week or so, and they remained untouched. To be honest, it was only a temporary fix. I mean, I couldn't live there, really. I was a little reluctant at the time to admit that, and I guess that was down to it being the first place I had ever lived alone. I was unwilling to give it up. I couldn't afford to move, and I didn't want to be home alone at night. I decided to solve both problems by getting a night shift. I did it on the hush-hush. I just wanted cash in hand if... I just wanted cash in hand, and if my day job knew that I was moonlighting, I might have been in trouble. I know, there's sympathy for me. Sympathy. Man, fuck. It's always the last story that I fucking struggle with when I'm out of, like, brain juice. I know. There's sympathy for me in my situation. I know. Their sympathy for me and my situation was truly heartwarming, huh? I didn't care if my new part-time job kept me out of the house at night and helped me to save up, and I decided to use some of the money I saved up to get some security cameras or surveillance cameras. I don't know which is the right terminology. I thought that I found who was stalking me, and if I could show that evidence to the police, then I could stop it all and maybe I wouldn't have to move. In Japan, honestly, stalking laws are pretty lax. They won't do much until something quote-unquote happens. If they weren't going to help me, I figured that I might as well try and help myself, right? I was really scared, I should say. I hated it. I hated that I had to work 2 jobs and be stressed all day and night. I was afraid of every guy that passed me on the street, and the ones who politely smiled scared me the most. It wasn't their fault, though. Scared but working. That's how I would describe that period of my life. Things got a little better when a friend of mine reached out to me that he had... Whoops. Notice me, senpai. What's up, Velvet? You're supposed to get snarred tomorrow. Sadly, we just have rain. After changing my locks, such a nice guy. We were close friends. Things got... Oh, there we are. Hey, Cam Jar, welcome back for 25 months. That's 2 trips around the sun plus a month. Love you, Joel. Thank you, Cam Jar. That is a long time. What the hell? Time flies too dang fast. Dude, that was so weird though. So like me and my friend were talking to Chat BBC about like time dilation, how like in that, you know, I know it's just science fiction, but I feel like the extrapolation of like the theory of time dilation being used to describe how in, what the fuck's the movie, not Inception, but why do I keep wanting to say Inception? Interstellar, sorry, Jesus Christ. Interstellar, when they go down, remember he was like, the one guy on the ship was just chilling outside of the planet, right? I'm pretty sure he was just outside of the planet, and they went down into the planet. And because of the gravitational pull from like a black hole that was closer to that planet, time, like it was like 8 years, or you know, or like multiple years passed for like every 8 minutes on the Earth or something, on that planet rather, on the surface of the planet. It just didn't make any fucking sense. And then so we started looking up like all the different concepts pertaining to time dilation, and it just like led down this rabbit hole of realizing that like so much of like different sciences within the you know, the concepts of like astronomy and you know, quantum physics and things of that nature, I don't know, dude. It all just felt as if though it was like inferred. It was like all inferred sciences that are all kind of based on each other, but there's no like, very few of them felt as if though they were like incredibly concrete. And maybe I'm just kind of oversimplifying things, but the idea of like time dilation to me has always just felt like a farce that's being pushed into like science fiction, because it feels fun whenever we implement it into a story and say like, they made this movie based off of science. And it's like, you know, I understand that they had like some sort of atomic clocks that like rotated further outside of the atmosphere of Earth versus the atomic clock that it was synced up with on Earth, and that because there was like a few milliseconds difference between them or something over a period of time, that somehow was the defining characteristic that like being closer to a mass's like center, gravity or whatever, you know, indicates that you can extrapolate that concept out to a larger scales. But I feel like if that was the scenario, then what, you know, to the extent that like 8 minutes equals years or whatever outside of like a gravitational pull, wouldn't that mean that like, wouldn't, to extrapolate it to that extent, like wouldn't you be like squished into a small ball if it was that much fucking gravity? I don't know, dude. Blinded you with science. Anyways, to me, sometimes I feel as if though science is this weird thing where like a lot of it is, and it could be full of shit. Everything I'm saying is technically full of shit because I'm not like backing it by anything, but sometimes I kind of feel like a lot of like science does feel like borderline religious, especially in those like higher like theoretical sciences, where they want something to be true so badly. Like especially in the concepts of like dark matter and antimatter and things of that nature, like they're looking for it everywhere. You know, they're just like looking for it everywhere, and as soon as they find some sort of particle that like even remotely benefits their like mathematical argument in a particular field or concept, they're immediately like, yep, that's it. We found it. We got the answer. I don't know. And to me, I feel like it's so easy to like, and a lot of it's being that it's like language. You can kind of just like manipulate language to like wrap around whatever reality you want to paint, because a lot of it just feels like you just have to be good at storytelling, but storytelling through whatever language you want to do. And obviously to like the masses, you know, for us, we just need to put out some fucking Christopher Nolan movie and we believe it, you know? I mean, how many goddamn Marvel movies have come out where they talk about the multiverse, and because they say the word multiverse so many times, there's so many of us that it's just like subconsciously planted into our brain that we sort of have this like underlying religious thought that like a multiverse exists for some reason. I don't know. And to me, I feel like that's how it is like to really believe a lot of the ideas that we believe is really just like repetitious. You repeat it over and over and over and over and over again, and then as soon as you're the one to like question on whether or not it's like legit, you know, you're looked at as if though you're crazy because, well, you don't understand. That concept has been, you know, foundationally implanted in my brain since I was young, like fucking sedimentary rock. Like it's down there like an old fossil, and it's not going anywhere. You're not washing that plaque off with a toothbrush. But I think you should. I think you should get an electric toothbrush to wash away all that plaque. Things got a little better when a friend of mine reached out to me, and he met me at work for lunch. We were close friends back at the start of our careers, so it was great to see him again, and he was really sweet, and he listened to my complaints and troubles and tried to offer advice. He was such a nice guy during the tough time that I just ended up relying on him whenever I was down or upset. After changing the locks, I felt as if though I was free again. Nothing happened for the longest time, and then about half a year after the lock change, something happened. I had to leave my job due to family reasons. I was very disappointed to be quicking. I had to leave my job due to family reasons. I was very disappointed to be quitting. I guess for some, it must have looked as if though I was throwing the towel in or something. I certainly felt that way at times, but in all honesty, it was out of my control. If I wanted to leave due to pressure or other circumstances out of my control, like, oh, I don't know, being stalked? Well, anyways, since I had to move back home, I guess I had to break the news to everyone. I had a farewell party at work, and I broke the news to the guy who had helped me through the tough times. And when he messaged me first, he said something along the lines of, "Hey, it's been a while. How you doing?" And we chatted for a bit, and he invited me to meet him somewhere kind of close by, and I accepted. I guess the guy who had been good to... The guy who had been good to me got in touch and offered to come and see me, and I felt great about it. It was like someone from a life I had before was coming to save me from my current life. I guess that doesn't make much sense unless you're me. Being back home was rough, and I guess that I was feeling nostalgic. I was working for a new company at the time, and he got in touch, and the place he wanted to meet wasn't that far away from my new job. We walked around the park, and we agreed to meet at... We walked around the park we agreed to meet at, and we caught up, talked about work and life and a couple of memories. I told him how I quit my job, stuff like that, and he seemed to be happy that I was doing well. I wanted to get across that I was in a much better place and genuinely a little happier than I thought I would have been to move back home. God damn it, my voice. My voice! I wanted to get across that I was in a much better place and genuinely a little happier than I thought I would have been to move back home. But then he said something strange. "I guess you didn't care about my feelings then, huh? That's really insensitive, you know?" I didn't really understand what he was talking about and where it was coming from. I wondered if I had accidentally said something rude to him or took his sympathetic ear for granted, so I replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I shouldn't have unloaded all my trauma on you during those rough days. I thought you didn't mind. Do you not want to hear all that stuff?" And he replied as quick as a flash, "Yeah, I hate stuff like that." It went super quiet and there was an atmosphere after he said that. I didn't feel like talking to him anymore. He suddenly leaned over towards me and covered my mouth with his hand. I was so scared and shocked by his actions that I literally couldn't breathe. As soon as he did that, I knew that this was the guy who had been stalking me, and I began to tremble. Even though I felt as if though I couldn't speak, I managed to utter a few words out to the effect of, "You followed me. You were in my apartment." "Oh, good for you, huh? She finally notices. God, I never knew you were this insensitive." "I thought we were friends. I didn't know," I said. "We are different people, aren't we? I wanted you to be mine and fast. I tried to show my intentions for months, but oh no, here I am ending up as the goddamn friend, a role I've played before. I mean, God, how stupid are you? Can't you just read the signs?" I was shaking like a leaf. He had one hand over my mouth and one clamped on my shoulder. "Why did you quit work, by the way? What the hell was that about? Had you been a little more mindful, a little more aware of your surroundings, you might have noticed me sooner." I stuttered some kind of muffled reply and he cut me off. "If you can't have the foresight to think of others, then why should they care about your troubles?" I had only known this guy and Dude, this is some anime shit right here, bro. Damn. I just had the wettest fart ever. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Chris. What did you eat? What did you eat? A big pile of Taco Bell's pink slime. A little too good at that voice, yeah. I've been typecast for this story. I had only known his gentle and kind side. Before that day, I didn't know he was capable of such a blatant display of anger. I could never have imagined that he would flip out like that. I struggled and tried to break away from him, but he was too strong. He scared the living hell out of me with what he said after that. "Listen, relax. I don't want to be mine in a place... fuck. Listen, relax. I don't want you to be mine in a place like this. But if you keep behaving like you're resisting... Oh, Pradeep, come on, bro. What are you doing? Scratching the shit out of everything. He thinks I'm talking to him. This is actually Pradeep's stalker voice. I could probably do the Joker. Uh-oh. Listen, relax. I don't want you to be mine in a place like this. If you keep behaving like you're resisting, then I'll do more. What's with the voice? What's with it? It's like you're playing a character or something, bro. Listen, relax. I don't want you to be mine in a place like this, but if you keep behaving like you are resisting, then I'll do it here. The park was positively empty, and he must have known that it wasn't a popular one. It felt as if though we were the only two people there. And just when things looked their bleakest and I thought that I could see a look of dark contemplation dance across his face, I saw something else. Or should I say, someone else. A dog walker entered the park. I believe that this was highly unexpected for him, so he let go of me for a split second to appear normal, I guess. I wriggled free from his grasp. I looked toward the dog walker and I wanted to plead with her with my eyes and show her that I wasn't there by choice. When I locked eyes with the dog walker, I realized that I recognized them. I knew her. She was an ex-coworker. She rushed over to me, and her dog was with her, and it wasn't a very small dog. And the creep started fast walking towards the exit of the park, and I was left hyperventilating in her arms. I think that the only word I could muster out was, "Why?" She replied, "I thought he was following you." She told me later that he made no secret that he liked me. He told numerous people at work that he had a crush on me, and it felt like I was the only one who didn't know. When all the stuff started happening to me at work, people naturally looked his way. He quit the company right before the locks got changed. I didn't know he quit because I barely knew this guy existed until he came in when I was at my lowest point. And apart from when I met him at the start of working at that company, I didn't ever see him at work, and he was a little older than me. He was told by someone at work that if anything else happened to me or my place, then the law... Fuck.
Mojo Jojo. Mojo Jojo.
New Kanye song out? Nice, dude. Is it good? It better not be one of those, like, poopity scoop songs.
Mojo Jojo.
I forget how...
Hey, Mojo Jojo.
Is that... What does he sound like?
Mojo. I am the mastermind, the genius.
Mojo Jojo versus Ed. Mojo. Dude, Mojo Jojo was kind of fucking badass. Such a funny name.
I had forgot my wallet. Curses.
I'm definitely not on the same, like, frequency as his voice, but I do like it. He was told by someone at work that if anything else happened to me or my place, then the police would be called. And that was when he left, I guess. That was when things went quiet for me too, and it all started to make sense. I moved into a new place after all of this happened, and I think the company I worked for is still going, and I'm miles and miles away now, though. It's a horrible time for me. I didn't ever go back to that secluded park again, and to think how close I came to having something so irreversibly horrible being done to me is something that terrifies me on a daily basis.
Curses. Aye, Mojo Jojo.
I thought he had more of like a
Deeper accent. Dang it. Mojo Jojo.
I haven't listened to the new Andre yet. Have you tagged me in it on Twitter? Can you tag the whole album on Twitter? You know, I could just look it up right now, huh? Andre 3000 new album. Oh, there it is. An hour and 30 minutes. Wow. All right. He's holding some sort of flute. Some sort of flute. Sweet. My Twitter link doesn't work. Shit. On the stream or just like on all videos? Probably need to change it out. You did bug me on Twitter a while ago. Oh, damn. I probably saw it and forgot.
Curses.
Alright, let's read this outro script. I forgore. Yeah, I forgore a lot. Sing you to sleep. You're the piano man. Do Aku. Oh, maybe that's who I was like doing more there instead of Mojo Jojo was Aku.
Aku. Samurai Jack.
Something like that, right? Aku's demise, but with the original Aku voice.
You might have beaten me now, but I will destroy you in the future.
Such a anticlimactic.
I disagree.
Aku! Aku!
Do not worry, samurai. You will see me again.
Dude, yeah, Samurai Jack was... Yeah, I feel like I watched a ton of it, but I don't remember much of it.
Oh, you're back already?
Alright, anyways, let's read this outro. You guys gotta think of something funny.
Try Bane. Bane, the Dark Knight Rises. Hello, Batman. I enjoy shitting in the dark. You were merely raised in it. I, took a big stinky right over there. I didn't flush either. Batman, fuck you.
Sonia, thank you for the 1 gifter. 2, Noodle Mother. That's a great name. Thank you, Sonia. And Noodle Mother, you now have access to bonus content. You sound like Picard. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST. And there are super fun live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. I'd love to see you there. And if you got a story, be sure to submit it to my subreddit r/Let'sReadOfficial or over on email, and you might even hear the story featured on a new video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast. Podcast.
Mojo Jojo.
And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to Fuck, why does that sound so weird? And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember,
Mojo Jojo. Curses. Curses. Whoa. Samurai.
I feel like I sound way more like the fucking...
Aku.
Remember to get your lobotomy at Claire's. Alright, friends, plural, all 577 of you hanging around. Thank you for being here tonight. This was a solid set of stories from Yopan. So I hope that you'll get to listen to it tomorrow when it comes out at 7 p.m. EST on your Friday. Or maybe I should release later on Friday. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, you guys rock. I'll get this up on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. And otherwise, I'll probably be back going live on Sunday. Well, we'll have to see. Shit. Damn, that's tough, actually. Might even have to, like, stream... Oh, it's hard to say. Or maybe I'll have to, like, rush back and, like, do a stream on Sunday night after New Year's. I'll let you know, though. But follow me on Twitter at Let's Read and Instagram at letsread.official. And I'll keep you up to date when I'm going live with new videos. Hit the follow button or, hit the bell over here. All that good stuff. And thanks for hanging, friends. You guys rock. Thanks for the support. Be sure to check out the bonus content if you got gifted a sub or you became a new member. Otherwise, I will see all of you guys again oh so soon. Bye-bye.